Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming out on this beautiful Alaskan day. Wow. September has been kind to us. It's been a wonderful September. Thank you all for being here today. Welcome. And welcome to all the people who are watching on YouTube. That number continues to grow each week, and I have a sneaking suspicion this week might be another one of those spikes. So thank you all for coming here today. My 3 points today. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about God. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to talk about the law of circulation. And then I'm going to talk about your dream. And I'm not sure how all these are going to fit together, but we're going to try and make it happen. So, a few weeks ago, I was talking with a friend, and she said, "Don, what is it that you mean by God? You talk about God as a principle, and yet I've always thought of God as, a supreme being that's like up in the heavens and whatnot." And I thought, that's a great question. And it deserves a really lot of thought. And what I decided to respond with was that I think that God is personal to each and every person. They're like fingerprints. It's not the same. Not everybody has exactly the same concept of God. And yet there are some similarities, some things that run through all of it. But overall, God is something that we have to define and decide for ourselves. Some of the things that seem to be common to all of it. One, we say that God is immanent. We say that God is transcendent. Sometimes it's immanent, sometimes it's transcendent, sometimes it's both. We also use the term ineffable. God is ineffable. This thing that we call God, this thing, whatever name you assign to it, God, Allah, Buddha, the thing itself, whatever term you use, is enormous. It's big. It's made all of everything. It's made all of the heavens. It's made the cosmos. And it's made everything down to the tiniest cork. So this thing called God is greater than we can really imagine. It's more than we can put our little finite human words to describe. But since we're human beings and we have to do everything, we have to have something for it, we came up with a word to describe that thing where you can't have words for it. And that's ineffable. Kind of a big word. Ineffable. It's more than what we can give voice to. It's more than what we can do. Now, Brother Colleen read just this wonderful bio for Faith. I mean, it was just awesome. And it told about all of the things that Faith has done and what she's done in the audience she's appeared before. I mean, giant. Look how fortunate we are to be in this room, tiny room with Faith. And she's touched all of these people, and she's done all of this stuff. But it's more than that. It's more than her bio. And to give a flavor of that, I want to give you a feeling, a sense of feeling. So earlier this week, I got an email from Dawn. You remember Dawn Macon, Sister Dawn. And Dawn said, "I want you to tell Faith how much she means to me." And just like Colleen listening to Faith on CDs many years ago, Dawn was at a conference in Hawaii, in Kauai actually, and Faith sang a song that she's going to sing today, in fact. And it so deeply touched Dawn, she decided to sing again. Dawn had not sung in public for over 25 years. Wow. And look at the joy that it brought this congregation. I mean, think of her singing "I Release" and some of the beautiful things. And she would have never done that had it not been for an inspiration from Faith. So here's another facet to that. But it's more than we can put our little human words to. So I think we can say that Faith Rivera is ineffable.
Don't tell my husband. Or tell my husband.
Okay, I need to pick up the pace here. Imminent. And then we talk about this thing, God's Spirit, whatever we name it, as being imminent. And what does imminent mean? That is all the omnis. That's omnipresent. That means that this thing exists at every point in space and at every moment in time, from the farthest back to as far into the future as you can go, and at every point in the entire cosmos, this thing exists. It's omnipresent. It is omniscient. That is, it knows everything. That's, a part of that is that infinite intelligence that I talk about so much. That's part of the omniscience of this thing that we call God. It is all-knowing. It is omnipotent. It is all-powerful. I tried to think of an example of what all-powerful could be. And two things came to mind, both of them up near my cabin. One year, Clear Creek, my favorite little fly fishing stream, flooded. And I was amazed the millions of cubic yards of gravel that river moved in just a few days. The awesome power of nature. And then a few years later, Ann and I happened to be just outside of Talkeetna on the overlook, when you can look down and you can see the three rivers come together. And the Susitna had an ice dam blocked up a couple miles upstream of Talkeetna, and the water started backing up, and then it finally broke through and it came through. And there were trees in there. Faith, if you and I held arms around, we couldn't get our arms around that tree, those trees, and it snapped them off like matchsticks. I mean, they were like 10 feet off the ground and just snapped them in half. And I think of that awesome power. And that's a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of the power, the omnipotent power of God. That's just a little demonstration. So we talk about all the omnis of God, and that's what we talk about of being immanent. And the last term that we use a lot of to describe God, or that we try to use to get our arms around it, is transcendent. And that is similar to ineffable in that it transcends. It transcends our ability to totally understand it. It's greater than what our finite minds can put around this thing that we call God. But what I've learned in this few days that I've got to spend with Faith is the importance of music, not only from opening our hearts, but also opening our minds. God is.
Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. It's me. And things where I work. Love is my career, where I play. God is playing for me, in and out and through me. There's
right in every one of those actions. And I don't know, when Faith sings and when she plays and what she does, I can feel and see the presence of God. She's allowed that divine presence to move through her in every way. And it moves through each and every one of you. Each and every person here today, regardless of your age, from the youngest to the oldest, and in between are a beloved child of God. Each and every one of you are made by and as and for the Most High. Think about this. Okay. In the beginning, there was light. Where did the light come from? Before there was anything, there had to be something. And the only thing that divine nature, that infinite creative force, that infinite intelligence, divine creative force, could make anything out of would be itself. And so everything that flows down there from that has to be made of this divine substance. Everything. That means you. Each and every one of you are made from the same God stuff that has made all of everything. So you have the DNA of the divine in you at every moment. You have within you every quality of God in you now. Now, gloriously, we've been given free choice. And sometimes we don't make real good choices. And sometimes we choose other things that are God nature. But that's okay. It's all part of what this infinite unfolding of God is. Each of us is a beloved child of God, and each of us has that divine DNA. Okay, point number 2. I'm going to talk a little bit about the law of circulation. And you may wonder why I picked that. In our philosophy, we believe that there are certain laws that apply to non-physical things, metaphysical things. So these are metaphysical laws. And these laws that apply to non-physical things are just as reliable, just as infallible as Newtonian physics. We could put numbers on it and evaluate it, and we could compute mass and direction and all the things that they do in physics that I didn't get a very good grade in. And But those are just as infallible. And one of those that I decided to talk about today was the law of circulation. And the reason I picked that, Ernest Holmes said that this also came out of the 365 Days of Richer Living. The mood of the infinite mind is one of love. Knowing this, I realize that the love of God uses me as a center of distribution. If I let my mind be a center of God's intelligence, I must also let my heart be a center of His love. Living the life of truth is a warm and joyous experience. I let God's ideas rule my mind, and I let God's love act through my heart. The key phrase in here is, I realize that the love of God uses me as a center of distribution. Each one of us, every one of us, are little distribution centers. We're distribution centers of God's love. We're distribution centers of prosperity and abundance. We're distribution centers of joy and happiness. And all you had to do is attend a place shop, and you could feel that infusion of happiness and joy. And each one of us are those distributors. And it's all within each and every one of us at every moment, even here and now.
So I think we're going to pull up lyrics for Here Now. As possible. Tom, take a deep breath in. And I want us just to feel all the richness that is in your life, the abundance that's already there. And maybe even what would it feel like to even have more? Your distribution center can handle a lot. You see. So I have the lyrics up so you can just take in the words more, sing with me, but really this is a time to celebrate the abundance that is right here, right now. Gonna turn this trickle into a flow, saying hello to a new life. Gonna let the riches in my life grow. Now is my time, this is my time to be everything that I dream I can be in my life. And I know that prosperity starts in my mind, here and now, here and now. Alright. Dive right into a sea of joy, going deeper to my treasure, and I drink in every precious drop. I am richer, so much richer, and I have everything that I truly deserve, and there's more, and I know that prosperity starts in my mind, here and now, here and now. This is cool, just need the music. I allow, I enjoy, I receive, I embrace, I commit, I invite, I believe. You don't have to do the one. Next slide. I open up my arms to this big wide world, saying come on, bring it all on. Gonna ease on down this yellow brick road, full of wonder, so much wonder. I can be everything that I choose to be in my life. And I know that prosperity starts in my mind, here and now, here and now. I allow, I enjoy, I receive, I embrace, I commit, I invite, I believe. Here and now. So you say aloud. Here and now. 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 really got that song because now you sang it.
This is a mark of a professional. That can take and turn it into something. This woman is amazing. Thank you, Faith. Well, I left my notes. I forgot what I'm supposed to say. I don't even have what did I say? Oh, abundance and prosperity are the nature of God and the nature of each and every one of us. And it doesn't mean just necessarily money and that type of abundance. I'm talking about an abundance of love, an abundance of joy, an abundance of this thing that we call life. And it doesn't have to be a struggle. It can be beautiful, it can be touching, and it can be filled with fun, as we see. Well, the early miners that came to Alaska and the Yukon back in the day came looking for gold. But what many of them found were that the nuggets were already within. The nuggets were already inside each and every one of them. My third point is don't let your dreams die. Your dreams are that divine presence, that infinite thing, the ineffable, the unspeakable, the things that we can't really describe all the way, speaking quietly to you. Your dreams, your aspirations, that is the divine giving you a gentle nudge. But because of some of the things that we've done, because of that very nature that we have sometimes of being a little negative and taking things maybe in a different direction than what they could be, it's no mistake that we've got a stairway to heaven. We got a highway to hell. And that's our... And we can choose the stairway.
I don't know.
I don't know where that came from. That wasn't in it. Let's get back to the topic. Your dreams are the divine pointing the way. And we let negative things get into us so often. We let other people's opinions, we let other people's assessments affect us, and we shut down. Oh, I can't go to ministerial school, I'm too old. I entered the Holmes Institute, and I think I was 18 years older than the next oldest person in there. Too old. I can't do this. I'm not some good-looking guy. I'm no Roger Deal. I'm a short, fat, bald guy. I can't do this. And we have this happen all through our lives. You can't do that. You're not big enough to be that star athlete. Drew Brees. Nobody wanted to draft Drew Brees. The guy's been one of the most reliable, successful quarterbacks in the NFL. He had it all along, and it just took one person to see that within him. We all have that spark within us. We have to let it out. And we can't let the world say you can't do that. And just because you've made mistakes doesn't mean you can't self-correct and go back and claim that joy that is yours. You can't go back, doesn't mean you can't go back and claim that divinity that is inherent within you. Yesterday in the play shop, Faith told us a powerful story about a 74-year-old man that came in and wanted to take her voice lessons. And what a powerful thing it was. He didn't end up singing, but he ended up writing, what was it, 3 or 4 magnificent songs. He could write the music. We all have that within us. And all we have to do is let it out. And we don't want to let that joy, that part of us, that thing that's nudging us in that direction, whispering in our ear, don't let it go. Don't let it out. Don't let the music out.
See, Mother can't tell us hearing me now, but I had such extreme stage fright. I literally didn't find doing any music until giving away my age, my 30s. Anyway, and I tried to put music alive. And this song came from a time when I gave up music And I became a communications major. And I thought this was a cool song. It had a cool piano part. I didn't hear the words, and you'll hear it soon. But by the time I reached the end of the song, it was about embracing my music. And I finished the song, and then 200 people stood up and gave me the moment I wrote about in the song. And so I knew that you can't leave your song unsung, or it hurts, like the hide and tell. And it's so much more fun once you get past that little bit. Can you hear the little voice? Quiet now, so tired to tell you to reach into that heart of yours. Right now, the Spirit's growing slowly, growing louder, stronger, be free. The walls are falling down, the music's breaking through the clouds. Come and feel the warmth of the sun, the beauty of a song that's been unsung far too long. And don't let the music die. The time has finally come. Crying no more. Open your lips, go and song. The music lifts you higher. Believe your heart, it's beat the rhythm that surrounds you now. Oh, now. Slowly grow louder, stronger, be free. The walls are falling down, the music's breaking through the clouds. Come and feel the warmth of the sun, the beauty of a song that's been unsung far too long. Don't let the music die. For the first time in my life, I'm drowning in all the joy, the rapture. This moment is mine. Be free. The walls are falling down. The music's breaking through the clouds. Oh, won't you come and see the warmth of the sun, the beauty of a song that's been unsung far too long. This moment is
What a beautiful moment. Let's just settle into this moment. It is with this concept within each and every one of us that that precious moment is indeed within each and every one of us. That presence, that ineffable thing that we call God, is with us. And so with that idea in mind, I'd like to invite my colleagues, the practitioners, to join me in holding our congregation in love and light. And so it is with this awareness, we just recognize that there is indeed a power in the universe, a personal power, a power that's personal to each and every one of us, our own individualized higher power. One power, one presence, one life, and that life is the life of God. That life is my life. That life is the life of each and every one of us. And contained within that life is perfection. And so I speak my word now for each and every person who is feeling imperfection in their lives right now, regardless of what the area is. For those who are feeling separation from one another and separation from God, we just simply know that there is God in all of everything. And as we live and move and we make decisions, we can move ourselves away from God, but we can never move outside of God, because that God is within each and every one of us. And as we have our interactions with other fellow human beings, it is God talking to God. It is God living with God. It is God loving God. And so we just let the other stuff go, and we allow the love to rule who we truly are. It makes no difference of what the relationship is. If it's a family relationship, whether it's a work relationship, a romantic relationship, it makes no difference, because it's all God loving God. We let that go. We let it be. I also speak my word for those who are experiencing lack and limitation and a sense of separation from wealth, a separation from abundance and prosperity. We just simply know that we live in an abundant universe. And I can tap into that universal mind and know for that person that there is an unlimited supply. That we do live in an infinitely supplied universe. We can't count the number of grains of sand on the beach. We can't count the number of stars in the heaven. And they're all there for us. Speak my word for those who are experiencing health concerns. We just simply know that within each of us is a blueprint, a divine blueprint that is perfect. And it is that blueprint that we call forth, the blueprint of perfection that knows every cell how to divide and how to reproduce in exactly the right way for our optimum health. And we call forth optimum health. And so now I just give thanks. I give thanks for my awareness of the power and the presence of God within myself, within each and every one of you, within each and every being on this planet. I give thanks for prosperity and abundance. I give thanks for health. And I give thanks for the very love of God.